Some questions. So David, just watching that now, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind was the George Bush clip. You performed for a lot of heads of state. Any awkward situations that you've had? I mean, even just dealing with the Secret Service, when you're shaking his hands like that, did they get a little antsy?
There's actually a really good story that I like, and you know, a lot of time people are always skeptical when you're a magician, especially if you look like me. So when I'm targeting people, what I do is, you know, I'll work all the angles around it first. So with President Bush, what I did is I saw his Secret Service guys. I walked up to them the first thing, did magic to all of them, and got them completely used to me grabbing them, moving, and things like that. So when I did it for him, it was normal. What happened was I was hired to do another gig that I told him about that you know, the people that know this guy all think he's the craziest person on the planet. It's the president of Kazakhstan. And I remember when Sacha Baron Cohen did that movie Borat, I remember this guy went out on the news and said that he's really offended, and this is a guy that literally won his presidency by murdering all of his opposition. So I was hired to go to Crimea on the Black Sea and do magic to 7 presidents. It was Medvedev, it was the president of Russia, the president of Ukraine, the president of Georgia, and it was like 7 presidents, but it was a very awkward situation. So the table was really big, there was 2 miles of Secret Service, and there was no other performers there, and most of these presidents barely spoke English. So I'm supposed to go up with a deck of cards and impress these guys, and okay, I figure I'll target the ones that speak the best English first. So I did Medvedev first, I did, you know, something with the coin bending in his hand, then I did the president of Ukraine, I did a card trick. Then I walked up to the president of Kazakhstan, about second from the end, and I said to him, pick a card. So he took a card out of the deck, it was the 8 of clubs. I said, show everybody. So he showed all the other presidents, and I said, put it back in the deck. I said, now your card is going to jump to the top. I did a move, and his card, the 8 of clubs, was at the top. And the other guy's like, oh. And he looks at me and he goes, that's not my card. And I say, it's the 8 of clubs, it is your card. And the other presidents are going, yeah, it's your card. And he goes, no, it's not my card. So there's something I do when I'm in a really awkward situation, which usually shuts people up because they think, oh God, this guy's crazy. What I do is I take the person's glass. So I took the president of Kazakhstan's glass. I drank his wine, which was already a bad vibe going on for him. He was not happy about it. I took his wine and I bit into his glass. And normally I bite into the glass. You know, if somebody has a wine glass, I can show you what I'm talking about. Does anybody have a wine glass? Does everybody trust him, or do you think it's a special glass? Thank you. Is that okay for you guys? Yeah?
Dude.
Okay. So what I do is I took his glass, and I did this. I eat the glass.
That is a real glass.
And I'll let you keep the rest of it. Be careful. Be careful. I swallow the glass. People think, whoa, he's crazy, and I'm all good. But with the president of Kazakhstan, I didn't realize those glasses were crystal. So I take his glass, drink it, and I'm standing over him. He's in his nice suit. I bite the glass, and the thing shatters all over his suit. And he looks mortified, and the Secret Service guys all look like this is not a good thing. And I realize that I have to get the hell out of there. I leave as fast as I can, never to re-enter that part of the world again.
Can you guys hear me? Is my mic on? All right. I know you just actually had a daughter.
Yeah.
She's 5 months old?
Yeah, I have a 5-month-old daughter.
I just had a daughter myself this past year. And, as all the training you did for, for all your stunts
Doesn't compare.
doesn't compare to having a little girl?
Well, it started the night that my fiance went into labor. She was having contractions, and it was January 26th. In New York, that was the biggest snowstorm that we've had in the last, I think, 2 years. The accumulation and all the stories that the snow wasn't picked up, so the city was a disaster. So at 3 a.m., she's having contractions every 2 minutes. But there's no taxis, there's no cars, there's no ambulances, there's nothing on the road. So my daughter started her first endurance stunt at that point. We decided that we were going to walk 70 blocks through the snow to the hospital, because what else could we do? So we walk outside, and we're about to head down 5th Avenue and then walk all the way up to 79th Street, and a snowplow started driving down. So I waved the snowplow down, jumped in the snowplow. My fiance's in the back of the snowplow having contractions. We're driving up to the hospital, and the best part is when we got to the hospital, she still had another 28 hours of labor.
Oh.
So yeah, I think my daughter's already onto it. She doesn't realize it yet.
Nice. I asked you about this before, and I think we didn't get to talk about this, but I read something online, and I guess you can't really believe everything you read online, but I know something you were planning to do, and you also tweeted a photo of all the bruises on yourself, I think trying to train for a high dive or something, or am I?
Yeah, since I've been with the breath holding and all that, I became so obsessed with water that I started to look into how high can somebody go into water. So I started pretty basic. I went and worked with the U.S. Olympic diving team, and I figured, okay, this is brand new for me, but I had their coaches help me. I've never done this before, so me being, thinking everything is doable, I can learn everything. I got up on the 10-meter and just kept doing backflips into the water, and I wasn't landing perfectly, so I ended up with the craziest bruises all over my arm, but also a broken tailbone, which, the pain is unbearable, but there's no treatment that you can do, so I just kept training for it. So that's my next goal, is to figure out how to hit the water from heights that very few people do, and then the end of that will be probably my last and hopefully my best thing. It's pretty intense.
Are there any stunts that you've abandoned, like you set out to do?
There's one that I tried to do that I quit in the middle of it, and I could not come back and try to do it. And it led to my dive-a-death stunt, which was my biggest failure to this day. But there was a stunt that I wanted to do, which was break the world record for sleep deprivation. So sleep deprivation is the most hardcore thing to mess with. When I was in the block of ice, I didn't sleep for 5 days and 5 nights, and the hallucinations are unbelievable. You don't know whether you're alive or dead, literally. I thought I was in purgatory. I thought I was being judged. I didn't know that this was ice in front of me. I couldn't distinguish what objects were. I thought that people were like cut into the ice talking to me. So your brain really starts to slip. So it was really scary, but at the same time, it was amazing. So I decided to go for the world record on sleep deprivation, which is 11.5 days. So I was going to try to do 1,000,000 seconds. So I did the rehearsal, and in rehearsal I got up to like 6 days, and the craziest things, I started getting blotches all over my skin. I don't know if they were really there or not. They were just starting to appear, and I got so freaked out thinking that I was going to die that I backed out of that stunt. So that's one that I've been obsessed with, that I'm like actually afraid of and don't want to suffer the consequences. But when I did start researching the stunt, it's pretty amazing, because the world expert sleep deprivation doctor out of Stanford, his name is Dr. Dement. And no, it's the truth. William Dement. And the guy that did the world record, he was a DJ in a radio booth in Times Square, and he did a week while doing a telethon to raise money. And his name was Peter Tripp. And Peter Tripp, when he did the week without sleep, when he was done, he was seeing spider webs on his hands and insects all over his body, but there weren't. And when he was done, right after that, he quit his job. He never worked as a radio DJ, cut off communication with his kids, divorced his wife, so it tweaked him for good. So Peter Tripp and William Dement, and that's why I've backed out, basically.
That's a good reason. One other question I have for you, I guess, is about the Dive of Death, and that was your last major televised event.
Yeah.
It didn't kind of go off as planned.
Right.
And you touched upon this before, is that, you know, we all have to kind of deal with failures in life, but when you're David Blaine and you're doing this in front of millions of people, it's, I'm sure, you know, not an easy thing to walk down the street and, you know, as you mentioned, I'm cutting it.
Yeah, the Dive of Death is actually really interesting because it was, the Drowned Alive ended up, even though it was a failure and it led to another success. After that, I went and did the Dive of Death, which was supposed to be the sleep deprivation stunt and had to change. And when I did that stunt, it was the day before the whole collapse of the markets and everything else. So it was, that was like, you know, the news shifted stories. But if they hadn't, it would have been just a disaster. I got pretty lucky on it. But it was, that one really messed me up. I haven't done anything since that one because I've become so kind of over self-critical and worried about consequences for the first time because things really didn't go as they wanted to. So once I had my daughter, it kind of, you know, it shifted my focus a little bit, and I'm actually working on the most important project this time. And this one, it's not about me or how far I could push anything. Now that I have a daughter, it's kind of like, you know, what can I do that she would like, or what can I do that would help out with the family? And so my next run, even though my last bit has been so down, it's actually invigorated me and made me want to do things completely different and change magic and give everything that I can. So I actually have a brand new idea, and I'm very excited about it. And it's not the dive thing. That's something I've been working on for my own self, but this is something that's giving magic back to the people, which is really what a magician's supposed to do. So you guys should be seeing that soon.
Great. We have some time for some questions in the audience. We do have a microphone in the back there. I can see, I think Tracy's there. Any questions? I'm sure you guys have some questions. Tim right there. I guess you can ask from here, and we'll just repeat the question if people can't hear it. The question is if you had any lingering health problems as a result of these stunts.
When I did the 44 days without food in London, I actually went into liver and kidney failure, and now I go into failure whenever I do these stunts. So yeah, it definitely takes an effect because I lost 60 pounds in 44 days. So it definitely plays a hard toll on the body. Yep.
Another question right here. The question is, David, what's the most amazing stunt that David has seen from another magician doing?
So the stuff that I like the most is the close-up stuff, like the cards and things like that are really simple. So while you guys are eating, I know everybody didn't get to see me do magic. I'll probably hit a couple of tables and show you the stuff that I find the most amazing. So when you guys are eating, just don't be bothered. I'll just be in there stealing your watches and doing simple things to you.
Any questions from this side of the room? Right down there.
Yeah, I'm curious, David. You seem so committed to everything that you've done in your career. I'm wondering if you're ever not on, and if so, what do you do to relax?
Wow. No, yeah, you're right. I was doing card tricks the whole plane ride here, the whole sitting. No, that's what I do to relax. I just like to do magic. That's my favorite thing. Yeah, I think a magician has to always be on. I don't get when magicians are like, no, today's my day off. It's like you're a magician. You're there to entertain people. Just do your job. You know?
Oh, we do have one. We have one question over here. Tracy has the microphone.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I was wondering now, with the birth of your daughter, is it going to change the ideas of what you will do and what you will risk? Because me being a dad and watching my daughter grow up and go through college, I definitely would do things different if I had a new one of my own.
Yeah, it's like every time you see her smile at you or do something, it kind of changes the whole way you think about what you're doing. So as she keeps growing, she's 5 months now, but yeah, I keep starting to reconsider things and really calculate. So it will definitely change the way I see magic, but I'm thinking it'll change it for the better, so.
When's she going to start doing card tricks?
She's already started.
Any other questions out there? Oh, Tracy, right behind you, there's someone.
Hey, David, have you seen any magic out there in the world that you can't explain as a magician? Any magic tricks you can't explain?
I'm still of the theory that you know, everything, no matter how baffling it is, there's a logical explanation. And sometimes with magic, you might not be dead on what the explanation is, but as long as it satisfies your brain, the magic is no longer magic, it's explainable. So I'm probably wrong in most cases, but when I see something, I always try to piece it apart. You know, it was really amazing. I was performing once at the Super Bowl at the halftime show, but we had pre-recorded before the game with both teams. And the linebacker, it was this, you know, this big linebacker, and he's a Super Bowl linebacker, and I was filming magic to the team, and when I was done, the team ran off, and my sound guy followed the team into their locker room, but they didn't see the sound guy behind him. So the camera's shooting here, and the team is off, and he's filming from far away, so the team doesn't know, and the sound guy is just recording these linebackers talking. And what was amazing was I think of like magic in the sense that magicians get it, but laymen won't get it. But a linebacker that becomes a Super Bowl linebacker, and this is what messed me up, because I didn't think about things like this, his job is to predict and calculate and to anticipate and to watch things just like a magician would execute. So he's actually naming the entire process of one of the most complicated card tricks beat by beat, and he's like, well, here's what he must have done, and he's saying it to his teammate. It's like, he must have had this card, switched it for that one, then at that point, and I was like, whoa, you know, who would have thought that like this big, crazy linebacker could like decipher every beat of this thing that I've spent 10 years working on?
So what do you think of those television shows that actually show how they do the tricks? I'm sure you're not a fan of that.
I mean, I think if things are good, they're good. If they're not good, they're not good. So I don't like cheap TV that just pushes things out to fill a slot. But also the irony is they'll put anything out there. Like, and at first I was really bummed out because I did the block of ice. I almost, you know, I risked my life. It was a nightmare. And then afterwards, Fox put a big special on saying the debunking of the ice. And they did an hour-long special about how I was underneath the ice with my twin standing in my place, and I was eating cheeseburgers and reading newspapers. And my neighbors in my dorm, everybody in my building was like, that came to see me in the ice and knows I don't have a twin, and they were looking at me and waving. They were like, wow, so you switched yourself for somebody else? And then the TV special, the hour after mine, was on Fox, and it was how man never really walked on the moon. So I said, yeah. Fox.
Can't really see out there. Tracy, do we have any other questions in the audience? Oh. Do you levitate? I don't think that's something that can be done on stage.
I might do some magic to you table by table and maybe at your table.
He doesn't have the wires set up here.
Or the magnets.
The magnets. I saw another question down over in that area, I believe.
What's your favorite trick to do?
My favorite one to do is just with cards where they flip from hand to hand. I'll show you. It's actually, it looks really simple, but I've actually spent, it looks super simple, but I've actually worked on this for like 2 years almost every day, and I was challenged by a friend of mine. He's a magician. He said, I spent 10 years working on it. There's only 2 guys in the world that can do it, and don't bother wasting your time. And it's just this. I mean, you could probably see it on the camera, but see how the card jumps here to here? Can you see it on the camera as well? You see it now, if you do it with 2 cards, see how they just jump across? Can you see that? So if I do it quickly, you'll see it looks like this. Let me see, I'll turn here. Okay, so you see the 5 of hearts? See if I shoot it, see you can't really see it, but it jumps like that. Yeah. Here, let me show you this other one that I love, because we'll do it with the whole room. Can you see the cards from there? You want to come in tighter? Is that possible? Come, good, good, good. Even tighter. Can you come in tighter? Is that it? That's it? Tell me if you guys can see. Was it too quick? Should I do it again? Try to see a card inside if you can. Did you all get one, or was it too quick?
I guess do it one more time.
You want to try it one more time? Did you all get one? Mm-hmm. Wasn't too quick? Okay, so I know that you guys are not going to go with a red card because it's very difficult to see. So I know that's not your card. That's not the card. But here's what I'll do. I'll estimate that your card was, I think you guys all thought of a similar card. It was a black card. I'm getting a spade, although some went with a 4 of diamond, but I think most of you guys... Good.
Good one. I'm just sitting this close, and I'm still trying to figure out how you do it. I guess we'll go out with one more question, one final question, and then we'll be on it. Anybody else? Well, I guess I'll ask the final question then. I guess for me, it's what's next for David Blaine? I mean, I know you kind of touched on that, but is there any solid plan? Have you made an announcement like when your next special is going to be?
Well, the next special is in May of 2012, and it's the concept is I'm going to be going after elusive people or people that are difficult to get to, and I'm going to do magic to them and then counteract it with somebody that's of the complete opposite. And my big plan is I'm about to build a stage show that everybody can actually come see me do magic every night. So that's a couple of years away. But,
will that be a touring show or like in Vegas? Or?
Working that out right now.
But
it's also a show that I've thought about for about 15 years, and I'm very excited about building it. I do think it's a very unique twist on magic, and I think it brings truth and honesty into the art. So that's what's interesting to me, which is ironic as a magician in an art that's all illusion and deception.
Well, David, it's been a real pleasure having you with us, and thanks
Thank you.
For joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, David Blaine.
Thank you. Thank you.